Yo, what's good, YouTube? We got best and worst career games of NBA legends. Now, I'm more interested in the worst games because I heard plenty of their best games, but never really of their worst games. I'm kind of interested to see what they got.
Between these 10 NBA legends, there are 28 championships, 23 scoring titles, and 18 MVPs. But despite their greatness, each of them had games where they played horribly. These are the best and worst games of NBA legends. And something very strange had been happening to LeBron James in the 2011 NBA Finals. It was almost like monsters from Space Jam came to Earth and took away his talents. Because for all his life, LeBron had been dominant and aggressive. And then, during those 2 weeks in July of 2011, both his dominance and his aggression disappeared. LeBron already had 2 MVPs. He had made the NBA Finals in 2007, he took over games in the playoffs, and he made buzzer-beating game winners.
Gets it to LeBron for 3 for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer!
In 2011, even though he didn't win the MVP, James was widely considered the best player on the planet, and nobody believed that the Dallas Mavericks had any chance of stopping LeBron and the Heat on their way to the championship. And when the series started, Miami looked like a better team, taking a 2-1 series lead with a 4-point advantage going into the fourth quarter of Game 4. And what happened next, nobody could predict, because LeBron played the worst fourth quarter ever, and the worst game of his career.
James, that's a travel.
For long stretches in the finals, Dallas kept LeBron in check by using Jason Kidd as his primary defender. LeBron hadn't yet become the master of the postgame, and because of the smaller yet very strong Kidd kept poking at the ball, James was unable to attack him off the dribble. And because the Heat had poor shooting around LeBron, the Mavericks used a hybrid zone defense, with Tyson Chandler always lurking to cut off James's driving lanes. So the Mavs took LeBron out of his comfort zone, and he was unable to penetrate inside the paint, which was his biggest strength. And LeBron's other great strength, his unselfishness, turned out to be his greatest weakness in these finals. Because he was always conditioned to play efficient, team-friendly basketball, LeBron wasn't trying to play hero ball and take contested jump shots. So he passed the ball and stayed completely passive. James finished Game 4 with a disastrous 8 points, which was his career low, and only the 8.
That's crazy. 8 points, and that's his career low? Hey, that's good.
Time in his career that he failed to score 10 points. James took just 1 shot in the fourth quarter and had only 1 assist, making just 3 field goals the entire game.
Wow,
and while it's true that the Mavericks outsmarted the Heat and that LeBron wasn't put in the best position to be effective,
James fires away, short.
He still should have been more aggressive and at least tried to put the Mavericks in foul trouble, but he remained passive and was the main reason why the Heat lost the 2011 championship. And 11 months after that loss, which was the most embarrassing moment of LeBron's career, King James was staring into the abyss of another playoff disappointment, with a 3-2 series deficit to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 6 was scheduled in Boston, and if LeBron lost that game, his career legacy would take an enormous hit, and he could wave goodbye to all the GOAT comparisons to Michael Jordan and other great winners of the past, and LeBron knew it. For the first time ever, he came into an NBA game knowing that he wasn't going to pass the ball to anybody. With an ice-cold death stare on his face, LeBron dominated like never before. The King kept making one tough basket after another, en route to a 30-point first half, shooting 12 for 13 from the field. In the second half, whenever Boston tried to get back into the game, LeBron shut up the crowd with another clutch shot.
James jab steps on Petrus. Now the jump shot. That's been going in all night long.
And with 7 minutes to go, the Celtics were down by 25 points, and Coach Rivers pulled his 4 Hall of Fame players to the bench. James single-handedly dismantled the Celtics and sucked the air out of TD Garden.
And the TD Garden has grown very quiet. LeBron James and the Heat right now putting on a clinic.
45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. If the game wasn't such a blowout, he likely would have finished with 50 points and 20 rebounds in what was one of the best performances in NBA history. Honorable mention goes to Game 5 of the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit, when LeBron scored 48 points, including the 29 of the last 30 points the Cavs scored in the final minutes of regulation and 2 overtimes.
And the second overtime. There's James for
Cavs need to bring back these jerseys. These jerseys was nice.
107.
Do they still use these
This
jerseys?
is
I don't even
unbelievable.
know.
This is Jordan-esque.
And just like LeBron, this next Hall of Famer had many legendary games in the playoffs. However, his best ever game happened in the regular season. But it wasn't only the best game for him, it was also the best regular season game in NBA history, or at least of games that were actually televised. Of course, we're talking about Kobe Bryant and his 81-point game against the Raptors. Similar to LeBron's Game 6, Kobe was in a different zone, never once thumping his chest, not celebrating a single basket, with the sole mission to destroy the Raptors as much as possible.
Kobe guarded by Mo Peterson. Kobe pump fake for two. Kobe's
on this. This is in 2009? Nah, that's crazy. I remember 2009 graphics never looked this bad. This looked like it was made in 1980s. Just in color.
got the Laker record.
Oh my goodness.
This game was the essence of Kobe Bryant as a basketball player. Extremely dedicated, skilled beyond measure, enjoying every second of the game, and not noticing anything else but the game. Hitting an array of difficult shots and leaving the arena with a win.
Listen to this crowd for number 8, Kobe Bryant. History tonight at Staples Center.
Bryant finished with video game-like numbers the NBA hasn't seen since the days of Wilt Chamberlain. 81 points, 28 of 46 shooting, 7 of 13 from 3, along with 6 rebounds,
That's
2
really not that
assists,
bad.
3 steals, and a block. And this best game of Kobe's career happened against Jalen Rose, just like the worst game of Bryant's career. It was Game 5 of the 2000 NBA Finals, and everybody expected a heroic performance from Kobe. Because in Game 4, when Shaq fouled out, Bryant put the Lakers on his back, hitting clutch shots and winning the game in overtime.
Shaw, running one-hander, followed in by Kobe Bryant. The Lakers have a 3-1 lead.
But in Game 5, it was the polar opposite. Kobe had one of the worst playoff games of his career and ended
For
with
real?
8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 fouls, and with horrible 4 of 20
Dang.
shooting as the Pacers won the
crazy.
game by 33 points.
Not one of the nights that Kobe will remember. At Game 4, he was sensational. Tonight, never really got his rhythm.
Now, Kobe's greatest idol had so many legendary games that it's extremely hard to choose the best one. Michael Jordan had 69 points in the regular season against the Cavs.
Turn out the lights. That's 69 for Jordan, and the Cavs take time.
He poured 63 on Larry Bird on the Celtics in the '86 playoffs.
Our Miller Lite most valuable player of the game is Michael Jordan with an all-time record 63 points in a single playoff game.
And dropped 55 against Barkley in the '93 finals.
Jordan, yes! And Michael Jordan with 55 points.
But the most memorable of all of MJ's iconic games is the last time he suited up for the Chicago Bulls in Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. In a hard-fought series against the Jazz, Jordan made a crucial steal in the final minute of Game 6, with the Bulls down by 1. He ran down the court, crossed over Byron Russell, and then swished the mid-range jumper
That's a
to give
push-off.
the Bulls a 1-point lead.
Jordan,
Yeah, that's a
open.
push-off.
Chicago with the lead.
After Stockton missed the last-second heave, the Bulls celebrated their 6th title, and Jordan walked away from basketball as the GOAT.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
In that Game 6, Michael scored 45 points, more than half of all Bulls points. It wasn't his most efficient game, as MJ only had 1 assist and 1 rebound, and statistically he had better games. But with the iconic game winner that was a cherry on top of his phenomenal Bulls tenure, Game 6 was the greatest game of his career. But when it comes to his worst game, Jordan didn't have many. MJ scored less than 10 points in only 13 games of his career, and most of them happened while he was on a minute restriction after an ankle injury in his sophomore season. In the playoffs, his airness never scored less than 10, and he was so good that many of his games got a special name, like the flu game.
Here's Jordan. Yes. A courageous, classic performance by the flu-ridden Michael Jordan.
The double
Yo,
nickel
Ashton,
game,
Got him in the air. Michael Jordan has 55.
or the shrug game.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes! Michael indicating he can't believe it.
And his worst ever game also had a special theme behind it, with the compliments of Nick Anderson, who said that 45 is not 23. After his father passed away, Jordan played baseball for a year and a half, and when he returned to the NBA, he wore the number 45. I didn't want to wear 23 because I knew my father wasn't there to watch me, and I felt it was a new beginning, and 45 was my first number when I was playing in high school. And in Game 1 of the Eastern Semis against the Orlando Magic, Jordan had an off game, scoring 19 points on 8 for 22 shooting, committing 8 turnovers. 2 of those turnovers happened late in the game, and when Nick Anderson stole the ball from Jordan that secured the win for the Magic, he boasted that MJ wasn't as good as he was before, and that number 45 is not 23.
And Jordan spinning his way against Anderson.
He came up behind the dude.
And Jordan took that personally. He switched back to number 23 for Game 2, scoring 38 points, and for the series he averaged 31 points on 48% shooting. But still it wasn't enough as the Magic advanced in 6 games. Now, unlike Kobe or Jordan, whose greatest scoring games were like buckets in waves, when this next player gets hot, it's more like a tsunami. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, and when he's in the zone, it looks like a video game. And for the opponents,
I think his worst game was in the playoffs when you only scored, what was it, like 2 points? He's probably going to put that one in there.
Night. Curry had plenty of legendary games, like the 54 he scored at the Garden in 2013.
Curry for 3.
62, his highest career points against the Portland
46
Trailblazers.
points he had against OKC in 2016, including this legendary game winner from 38 feet.
Curry way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Or the career-high 62 he dropped against the Blazers in 2021.
Yeah, the Dame was tough.
Finds him another 3. Got it! 62! 62!
But his best ever game came in the 2023 playoffs, in Game 7 of the first round against the Sacramento Kings. After winning their 4th title in 2022, Curry and the Warriors struggled in 2023, barely even making the playoffs. The Dubs were on the brink of elimination in the first round, but when it mattered most, Steph took the ball in his hands and kept splashing. The chef cooked the Kings with 50 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And his 50-point game set the NBA record for most points ever scored in a Game 7.
Curry with Murray on him. 3-pointer.
That's a foul.
Puts it in.
I'm glad he calling
Steph
those
Curry
nowadays.
from way downtown. A 50-point Game 7 for Steph Curry.
Steph has played in 159 playoff games so far, and he's failed to score in double digits only twice, with one of those that shouldn't even count due to injury. The other time was a 9-point letdown against the Spurs in the 2014 playoffs, but that wasn't his most disappointing game ever. That honor goes to Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals.
gosh,
The
you had to
Warriors
remind me of
famously
this
blew
one.
a 3-1 lead against the Cavs and failed to win a championship after a record 73-9 season. Curry finished Game 7 with 17 points on 6 for 19 shooting, with 2 assists and 4 turnovers, and losing that game was surely the most painful moment of Steph's career. And the guy who recently moved behind Steph to number 2 all-time and made 3-pointers is one of the best pure scorers of this millennium, and choosing his best game is extremely hard. James Harden has scored 40 points or more in 101 games.
Harden's got 45!
23 times the Beard eclipsed 50 points.
7 on he turned him over! He got turned over at 57 for Harden!
And he scored 60 on 4 occasions.
Harden for the slam to seal the deal! 61 for Harden!
Only Wilt, Kobe, and Dame have more 60-point games than Harden. His most efficient game ever was when he scored 60 against the Hawks in 2019, with only 24 attempted field goals. Harden's best statistical game was the 60-point triple-double he had against the Magic, but the greatest of his career was in the 2019 regular season against the Warriors. Playing against KD, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, Harden scored 44 points with 10 rebounds, 15 assists, and 2 blocks, with 10 made 3-pointers, including the one that won the game.
Down to 3, down to 2, it's a 3. Good! Good! He got it!
And his worst game also happened against the Warriors in Game 5 of the 2015 Western Conference Finals. Harden scored 12 points on 2 for 11 shooting. But the worst part wasn't his shot not going in, but the number of turnovers he had. The Beard turned the ball over 12 times in that game, which is an NBA playoff record.
5 blocks. Harden's lost the ball again.
Now, Harden's teammate on two different teams also knows a thing or two about scoring. Kevin Durant has 70 40-point games in the regular season and 14 more in the playoffs. Now, in 3 of those playoff games, KD played in absolute God mode, and so it's impossible to say which one was better, so we're going to name all 3. The first performance happened in Game 3 of the 2017 Finals against the Cavaliers. Durant's Warriors had a 2-0 lead in the series, but in Game 3, LeBron and the Cavs had the lead for a majority of the game. Then, KD made the deadliest and most important shot of his career.
Durant for 3. It's good! Kevin Durant from downtown, and Golden State takes the lead.
The Cavs never scored after that dagger 3, and the Warriors took an insurmountable 3-0 series lead, largely thanks to KD. While the Splash Brothers struggled with their shot, combining for 21 points on horrible 7 for 27 shooting, Durant won them the game with 43 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 15 for 23 from the field and 6 for 9 from deep. The second game came in the first round of the 2019 playoffs, a few days after KD delivered the most cold-blooded press conference in his career.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
After he reminded everybody who he was, he proved it in Game 6, dropping 50 points on the Clippers on 15 for 26 shooting, with 6 rebounds and 5 assists.
Durant, count it, and the foul! It was a masterpiece by Kevin Durant. 50 points for the game.
Now, the best statistical game of Durant's career happened after his Achilles injury, which is a miracle in itself. 2 years after suffering the worst injury in basketball, KD returned to play for the Nets, where he played the most efficient basketball of his career. In Game 5 of the Eastern Semis against Milwaukee, everything seemed lost for Brooklyn after injuries to both Kyrie Irving and James Harden. But then, KD entered that zone again, scoring 49 points on 16 for 23 shooting, with 17 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks.
Good crush the defense by Milwaukee.
I didn't know this because I don't watch neither the Milwaukee or the Nets.
Running down, he hits from downtown.
He was almost equally as good in Game 7 of the series, scoring 48 points, including a potential game winner that would send the Nets to the next round.
Here is Durant moving on.
Oh, when he's pushed up on the line.
He shoots. Yes! With 1 second remaining.
But his toe was on the line and the three-pointer was reduced to 2 points, after which the Bucks won the game in overtime. But the worst game of KD's career happened when he was still with the Thunder in 2016, in a first-round series against Dallas. In Game 2, KD scored 21 points, but shot the ball 33 times and made just 7 field goals, including 2 for 11 from 3. To make things worse, he also had just 2 assists and 7 turnovers, including a missed game winner from close range, as the Thunder lost the game by 1 point. Now, coincidentally, that game was the last playoff win for our next legend, one of the few people still ahead of Kevin Durant on the all-time scoring list. Of course, it's Dirk Nowitzki, who also played his best game against OKC and a young KD during the legendary run of the 2011 playoffs. On paper, the Thunder had the better team, but the Mavs had Dirk, who was playing out of his mind. In Game 1 of the West Finals, Dirk scored 48 points on 12 for 15 shooting and 24 free throws without a miss, which is an NBA playoff record.
Unbelievable. And we have watched the greatest free throw performance in the history of the NBA and one of the most amazing shooting performances this game has ever seen.
And the Mavericks' franchise record for wins was in 2007 when they won 67 games. But then a disaster, as they became just the second #1 seeded team to lose to the 8th seed in the first round of the playoffs. And during that series against the We Believe Warriors, Dirk played the worst game of his life in the closeout of Game 6. With his team down 3-2, Dirk needed to play at his best to extend the series, but he only scored 8 points on 2 for 13 shooting, and the Mavs lost the game by 25. And speaking of great shooters, here's one that used to be considered the best of all time. Before the likes of Ray Allen, Steph Curry, James Harden, and Damian Lillard came along, Reggie Miller held the NBA record for three-pointers made. And Reggie's greatest shooting performance happened in Game 1 of the 1995 East semifinals against the Knicks, with his legendary 8 points in 9 seconds. Up to the final minute, Reggie didn't have the greatest of games, but with the Pacers down by 16 with 18 seconds to go, it seemed like the Knicks had the game in the bag. But then it was time for the Reggie Show, who killed the Knicks with 2 quick threes and a couple of free throws.
And a steal! Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again!
And somehow, the Pacers won the game.
That shot reminds me of like what 2K players now be doing, like how they be running straight to the 3-point line just to hit a fading 3.
No timeouts.
I do the same thing. So
Stumbles and falls. Time runs out. Reggie Miller scoring 8 points in the final 32 seconds.
Miller finished with 31 points, and even though he scored more than that on 22 different occasions in the playoffs, 8 points in 9 seconds? Well, that's insane. Just like the taunting of Spike Lee in the aftermath of the game. And Reggie's worst game ever happened on the biggest stage, in the 2000 NBA Finals. It was his first time in the finals after 13 years in the NBA, and even though he was among the most experienced players on the Pacers, he still succumbed to the pressure. In Game 1, Reggie shot 1 for 16 from the field, with 0 3-pointers and just 7 points, as the quote-unquote the greatest shooter in the NBA at the time. But before Reggie, it was his coach in the 2000 finals who was considered the greatest shooter in the NBA, with 2 50-40-90 seasons and 3 times winning the NBA three-point contest.
For the money.
Larry Bird had a ton of great games, like the 60-point game against the Hawks.
With 3 seconds, Bird will try another jumper and hit it at the buzzer. Bird has 60 points.
Or the 53 he dropped on the Pacers in 33 minutes without a single three-pointer. However, Larry Bird's statement game, the one that defined him as a player, was the left-handed game against the Blazers in 1986.
Oh, I heard it is. Anyway, is he going to explain
Bird won 2 MVPs in a row and was well on his way to win a third, and it became boring for him to dominate and get motivated for a regular season game. So, before a game with the Blazers, Bird said that he'd only play with his left hand, and the result was 47 points on 62% shooting.
Nah, bro, that's crazy, bro. That is actually like phenomenal, bro. Like, man said, it's boring playing with my right hand. I'm dominating everyone on the field, bro. I'm gonna just use my left hand.
Rebounds and 11 assists.
Not even as dominant.
Now, Bird can't beat you right there. You got to keep them under control. They don't.
As Bird goes to 47 points.
Larry was simply that good, and he rarely had a bad game. But they still happened. Against rookie Charles Barkley and his 76ers, Larry scored just 14 points in Game 4 of the Eastern Finals, hitting just 4 of 15 shots with 8 turnovers in an 11-point loss.
You know, I don't feel bad about having so many turnovers on 2K anymore. I mean, like, look at these. They're legends over here having like 8 turnovers. James Harden had 12. So, you know, I really don't feel bad if I have, like, you know, 5 or 6 turnovers.
And the last player on this list is a 3-time champion and widely considered the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time, who just recently got a statue in Miami. But despite what you may think about the look of the statue, there's no doubt about the look of D. Wade's career, which had plenty of legendary moments. Extremely quick, bouncy, and fearless when attacking the basket, Wade was a nightmare for opposing guards, and he quickly rose to superstardom, winning the NBA championship and the Finals MVP in only his 3rd season. And in those 2006 finals, Wade averaged 34.7 points per game, which was the 9th best scoring output in finals history at the time. Wade was especially impressive in Game 3, when he scored 42 points with 13 rebounds, and in Game 5, when he had 43 with 4 assists and 3 steals.
Wade pulls up. Bang! Dwayne Wade again!
I remember in the 02Ks, bro, when Dwayne Wade was playing, he used to give me problems all the time.
Another extraordinary game for Dwayne Wade.
All the time.
But his worst game happened in the 2012 Eastern Semis against Indiana. In Game 3, D. Wade scored only 5 points on 2 for 13 shooting with 5 turnovers in a blowout loss. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, we have another one for you.
Crazy. Hey, which one was more like surprising to y'all? To be honest, though, I'm actually like, that's crazy. I would have to probably say for me, I don't know. LeBron was kind of like surprising because, you know, I never really thought that he got below, like, they always said that he had more than 10 points, and like him only having like scoring 8 points, but that wasn't that surprising. That's crazy though. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If y'all want to see more videos like this, like we got other videos right here, like we got 12 craziest beef in the last 10 years, we can watch that next if y'all want to. Just make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys like, subscribe, and comment down for more.